in Storrs, Connecticut. A packed house, electric atmosphere here for the 28th all-time meeting between these two programs. Ball is up, still up for grabs, and a jump ball right off the tip, Kim.
Yeah, I was going to say they're just going to have to re-jump
I guess
because there's no arrow at this point.
We'll try it again, take two. Batted way into the backcourt for the UConn Huskies. Ashlyn Shade brings it under control, and we are off and running here with UConn taking on DePaul. The Huskies come in 1-0 in Big East play. Still the early going here. Unique to have some of these conference matchups in December as Fudd, a little nice fake. Off iron, Fudd puts in her own miss. 2-0 lead here for the Huskies.
And that shows the more well-rounded player that AZ Fudd has become. Obviously, she's a sharpshooter, but she attacks that closeout with the pump fake and then gets her own miss to put it back in.
Fudd playing as freely as she has ever, according to head coach Gino Auriemma. Playing with a ton of confidence and aggressiveness this season. DePaul, meanwhile, snake-bitten by injuries, 0-1 in the conference season, falling to Marquette on Thursday. This is a team that has not had consistency in their lineup, not had everyone available as the shot clock is winding down. Jump ball as Fudd had some ready hands. DePaul led by head coach Jill Pizzotti in her first full season as the head coach of this program, named the interim last year, and trying to build something special here, trying to get the foundation in place for this Blue Demons program. But again, it's been the injury bug that's been problematic as there's a shot clock violation and a turnover for the Blue Demons here in the early going. UConn led by the legend that is Gino Auriemma, on the bench here in Storrs for more than 4 decades. The winningest coach in women's college basketball. You could list off his accolades for days. An 8-time Naismith National Coach of the Year. And how about a coach, or a player rather, of the year candidate, and Sarah Strong getting it going from the outside.
And that's a miss on the execution there. AZ Fudd with the steal and the score.
Off and running figuratively and literally, as AZ Fudd is off to a strong start now with 4 of the first 7 points for UConn. Mentioned her playing extremely confident and aggressive so far this season. Deciding to return for a graduate student campaign instead of opting to go to the WNBA. Shade from beyond the arc, off iron. Board brought in by Sarah Williams, the big Wisconsin transfer. Huge addition on the interior for this UConn program this season. Arnold gets to the cup and gets the friendly roll. Arnold fired up after the fact. Timeout on the floor. Head coach Jill Pizzotti going to try to rally the troops after a 9-0 start for the UConn Huskies. The top-ranked team in all the land, showing exactly why.
Ooh, couple different players getting involved early. Sarah Strong with the triple. AZ Fudd, defense to offense. UConn on fire.
Type of program that we're talking about.
It's the toughest club to get into in America. And Kylan, we do have to shout out Sue Bird's 12-year-old niece, because in her speech, she said her 12-year-old niece was more excited to watch today's game to see AZ Fudd than she was to see her aunt's jersey go into the rafters.
Right on cue, Fudd with the drive, can't get it to go. Williams the O board. Second chance coming. Shade on the drive, goes to ground, and a foul is called.
And DePaul drawing the offensive foul there. Good response out of that quick timeout that Jill Pizzotti had to call, probably looking for more intensity on the defensive end. Nice job by Meg Newman getting to her spot with plenty of time. An easy call for the officials, even though Shade didn't agree with it.
However, there is another turnover, the 5th here in just this first quarter for the DePaul Blue Demons, and this UConn defense is so suffocating with the depth they have this year as well. Coach Auriemma telling us they're dialing it up even more with some of that ball pressure. As DePaul looks to do exactly the same thing on the other end. Good steal for the Blue Demons. West can't get it to go. Strong the board. Playing that point forward position, what can't she do? Nice pass to Williams, and there's a foul on the floor.
I think one of the best offenses in the country is Sarah Strong bringing the ball up in transition from the forward spot. She's so confident. She's always has her eyes up. That was not an easy pass that she just made her way into Sarah Williams.
Strong with the #2 assist to turnover ratio in the country as a big. Just ridiculous. Williams working in the post, has it taken away. Good deed there by Novick.
Yeah, you see a quick collapse from DePaul on the catch, one in front, one behind. Now they've forced a couple of UConn turnovers.
As you mentioned, since that timeout, good response here from the Blue Demons defensively, but offensively they keep having it taken away as there's a foul, and KK Arnold is bent over in some pain. Looks like she took a shot to the face maybe.
The foul starts to DePaul.
Kind of blinking her eyes here.
Her first, team second.
Foul on Novick, her first, the team second here in this first quarter.
So this was the 6th turnover by DePaul, and yeah, KK Arnold just taking an inadvertent shot, but she's good to go, bringing it up the floor.
Arnold, one of the players stepping into a bigger role for this UConn Huskies team this season, as Williams puts it up off the glass for 2.
And Sarah Williams, someone I'm looking at to keep taking steps with this UConn team in her first season, coming over from Wisconsin. I think she has a lot more in her bag that she's capable of.
West off iron. Williams, a 2-time All-Big Ten first team selection, 2-time All-Defensive team selection, as there's a pass that is intercepted. Devoria.
Rare turnover for Sarah Strong. You mentioned that assist-to-turnover ratio. That was not that was kind of a lazy cross-court lob.
You call her out. You go, Kim Adams.
Well, I know Gino's going to do it. He's going to let her see that clip a couple times tomorrow.
Novick couldn't get it to go. Shade the board. Arnold pushing pace. Lobs over the top. Strong with the beautiful finish.
And there's the versatility of Sarah Strong. We've seen her bring the ball up from the point guard spot most of the possessions to start this game, but then she could just get a mismatch of the post. Easy positioning and a nice lob pass over the top.
Strong leading the team in rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks to give you an idea of how much she can do. And the second leading scorer, only behind AZ Fudd, averaging just about 17.5 points per game. Ridiculous stuff, as we've mentioned. Newman, another turnover here for the Blue Demons. Arnold, what a fake. Strong goes up with it, and there is a foul called. Strong going to the line for 2 here.
Sarah Strong, very active to start this game, and this is just a simple post-up. She noticed that defender on the top side. She calls for it towards the baseline, and teammate perfectly places it to her.
Also in for the Huskies.
Foul called on Meg Newman as a couple of substitutions are being made here. Kaylee Heckel checking in for the UConn Huskies. The USC transfer, been a big addition, helping run the point with the second unit, or when KK Arnold is not on the floor. As the first free throw shot goes out for Strong. Another rare miss. She's a 90% shooter from the charity stripe. Hits the second.
And here comes that full court pressure again from UConn. As you mentioned, it's something they're able to do more often this season because of the depth, because of the personnel. They've got quickness and length everywhere on the floor.
Coach Oriema telling us they really want to lean into the defensive pressure and then finding those opportunities in transition, continuing to push pace as they have done all year. Novick, though, with some good work inside. Big bucket for DePaul.
Yeah, that was a really strong take, crossing sides of the floor through a couple of defenders. She has been their best scorer this season, transferring in from Morehead State.
Strong, though, right through the lane. And there's a foul.
And there has to be more defensive pressure there. I mean, Sarah Strong just kind of waltzed into the lane there, and you could tell Jill Pizzotti going right to the bench to find somebody who's going to put a little more pressure on. As we look back at Kate Novick, averaging 14 points per game, nice size at the guard spot, 6 feet, and then, I mean, you got to have more effort than that when you're defending a top player in the country. Way too easy.
Strong leading all scorers so far with 7 points at that last made free throw. Rattles in the second one. Yeah, defensively disrupting her inside the lane. Not easy to do, but you at least got to try or put a body on her. Too easy on that last opportunity. Here into the game, it's Allie Tim running the point for the Blue Demons. The 5'10" redshirt freshman guard, but it's the UConn Huskies pressure.
You see the size in those traps. Blanca Quiñones has come in off the bench as another 6'2" body out there, stayed vertical. It's just hard to even get vision over some of the size in these traps.
Quiñones coming off a great game, 13 points, 2 boards against South Florida, a player that Coach Auriemma wants to see even more of on the floor, as there's another turnover forced by the Huskies defense. He said she's just got to stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah, he said that's what's limiting her minutes right now. Blanca Quiñones comes off the bench playing about 17 minutes per game. He said, I'd like to get that up to 22, 23. It's more of her silly fouls that are taking her out of the game.
Right on cue, Quiñones cuts through the lane.
I mean, I would make it 30 minutes looking at that take. A true freshman, really opening up a lot of eyes. A native of Ecuador, had been playing in Italy the last couple of years.
Quiñones with that unique combination. She's got the size and the length, but also the skill. You just saw the way she can put the ball on the deck with her speed. Really a mismatch nightmare for a lot of different players in the post. Nelson, 7 to shoot here for DePaul. Good cut, and the finish is there. Hageman getting on the board here. DePaul now with 2 baskets.
And that's how you want to counter that high pressure that UConn is presenting. They're really pushing DePaul out. They're sending traps. You want to try to beat it with backdoor cuts. Nice execution from the Blue Demons.
Quiñones puts it on the deck, and there's a foul.
The foul starts for DePaul, number 35, Justice Odom. Her first, team's 5th.
Odom's called for her first foul. That's the team's 5th, which means that UConn will be in the bonus here for the remainder of this first quarter. About 3:16, 3:15 to play.
So far, DePaul has just struggled to keep UConn players in front of them. Multiple players now have been able to just get to the paint, get to the rim. Blanca Quiñones, Sarah Strong have to try to be stronger at containing that drive.
It's interesting because DePaul's defense, at least their disruption, has been one of their strengths, forcing over 21 turnovers per game this season. However, so far you've seen those breakdowns take place on the dribble. Also, though, DePaul coming off a game where the fouling was an issue against Marquette. 3 different players reaching 5 fouls in that last game on Thursday. Novik surveying. Nelson back out. 8 on the shot clock. Lee running out of time. Last couple seconds, stolen away, Strong. Trying to get out, but there's a foul. Lee called for the foul there. That should be her first.
And that's now 9 turnovers in this first quarter for DePaul. UConn as a team forces 23 per game. Sarah Strong. I think that maybe could have gone either way. I thought Summer Lee positioned herself. I mean, that's a sacrifice to put yourself in front of Sarah Strong.
Looked like she got the feet set. Strong, though, at the free throw line is again UConn in the bonus here. Strong, the WBCA National Freshman of the Year, All-American last year, following it up with an even more stellar sophomore campaign, which isn't always necessarily the case, Kim. Now she's at the top of the scouting report. Teams know what they're going to be facing in Strong as multiple bodies go on the floor for a loose ball. Jump ball will be Huskies basketball.
Yeah, Sarah Strong is just playing with such a level of assertiveness now. Last year, she could kind of sit back, let Paige Beckers run the show, catch a pass from her every now and then, but now she is the one in charge. She's dictating things for UConn on both ends of the floor. We mentioned just how strong her numbers are defensively as well in terms of steals and blocks.
There's a foul called on Lee, her second, here on the sideline.
These fouls are mounting up. It's now 7 fouls against DePaul and just 1 foul called on UConn. That's got to be a little frustrating for Jill Pizzotti.
Yeah, as I mentioned, a lot of fouls as well in that last game against Marquette. Certainly an area to clean up in terms of that defensive discipline as Heckel hits the first free throw. Going back to Strong, though, also seeing the way she emerges as a leader in her sophomore campaign is going to be fun to watch as the season progresses, as Coach Auriemma has talked about. the void that is left behind by not just Paige Becker's play, but the leadership aspect. And AZ Fudd is a little bit of a different personality. Sarah Strong as well. He's talked throughout the season about continuing to push some of his returners to be more vocal. Eight on the shot clock, skip pass. Tim can't get it to go. O-board though brought in by Nelson. Hegman. Attempting to get through on the backdoor cut is Novick. Reels it in. 6 on the shot clock again. Nelson on the drive, no. Good O-board by Newman, and a foul is called.
And that was probably the best offensive possession of the game so far for DePaul. They really moved it around. They got some good looks from their shooters. They followed it up with a couple of offensive rebounds.
And for the Blue Demons, number 23, Michelle Ojo, releasing number 21, Natalia Nelson.
Newman now heading to the free throw line, a 6'2" redshirt senior forward out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Pretty versatile, averaging about 6.5 points, nearly 5 boards per game. Coming off a tough one against Marquette, though. 3 points, 2 boards. Did foul out in that game. Just her second start, that was. Earning the start today, being her third. But a player who was instrumental last year, led the team in rebounds and ranked 5th in the Big East, averaging 8 per game. And here's another opportunity for DePaul when they do get after it on the glass.
Yeah, it was Newman rebounding her own miss there. That's got to really frustrate Gina Oriema.
Novick puts it up and in. Novick leading the way, 4 points as DePaul tries to cut into this deficit here in this first quarter.
Yeah, credit to DePaul. They've really elevated the level of energy since getting outrun in the first couple of minutes. Kate Novick with the strong take.
Fudd from beyond the arc, splashes it in.
And we mentioned coming onto the air, she's putting up the best numbers of her career percentage-wise, shooting 51% from 3 coming into this game. You could not leave her alone on the perimeter.
Fudd with 10 points against South Florida was the first time all season she hasn't made at least 2 threes, because she has been that consistent, as there's a 3-ball offline from Tim. Second chance leads to a foul called. An opportunity at the free throw line is, again, it's Newman who's mixing it up down there.
Yeah, DePaul has really been crashing the offensive glass. It's one of the things, one of their best strengths. They average about 14 offensive rebounds per game, and right now we saw that look on Gino Oriema's face. I mean, his team is just getting out-hustled right now. That's now 4 offensive rebounds for DePaul. I would say probably all 4 of those came in the last 90 seconds or so.
Williams called for the foul there. That's going to be her second, so keep an eye on that. Sarah Williams with 2. Third team foul here in this first quarter as Newman hits the free throw. I mean, do you feel like the glass is going to be the recipe for success for DePaul? What do they do to try to overcome this UConn defense in addition to the transition play that we've seen so far?
Yeah, well, the first order of business is taking better care of the ball, which I think they've done in the last couple of minutes. They're up to 10 turnovers, but a lot of those were in the first part of this first quarter, so they've settled down there. And then the rebounding is an opportunity for them to give themselves some better looks while they're struggling to shoot a little bit to start from the outside.
Rebounding also something that Coach Oriema has been hounding his team about. Certainly going to be some words about that between the first and second quarters, one would imagine. But a 5-second difference here between the game clock and shot clock. Fudd steps beyond the arc, and Fudd cannot miss. 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. Last seconds ticking down. Shot is very close, but it was waved off as not off in time, out of the hands of sophomore guard Devin Hageman for DePaul. Solid start here for UConn. 28-9 lead at the end of the first. Sue Bird going to be joining us after the break. She joins us now courtside. Sue, thanks so much for stopping by. Again, Kylan and Kim here with you. You are someone who's been a part of so many awesome, memories here, so many big moments. I know the Notre Dame shot in the Big East Championship jumps to my mind, but what's the first thing that comes to mind for you when you walk back in this gym and you spend time around this program?
Well, that's a good one. That's definitely up there. But when I went here, we didn't have a practice facility, so we had all of our practices in Gamble, on this floor. So it's not just the games, the championships. Sure. It's like all the other memories that come rushing back.
Yeah. Nothing sticks out? Anyone? Any two?
I mean, the Big East one, the Big East Championship's pretty good.
Pretty good one.
we played Tennessee a couple times here, played Notre Dame a couple times here. Those were like the two rivals when I was here. So a lot of great games.
And Sue, just to think of how many legends have come through this program that are still coming through this program, to now have your jersey as one of just 3 on the women's side to be up there forever, just what are the emotions of this day like for you?
Yeah, no, it is really special because let's be honest, in 5 to 10, there's going to be a lot more numbers up there. So for right now, it's just the 3 of us, and it does mean a lot because Coach Ariema talked about it in the ceremony. You come to a school like this, there's been so many great players, so many championships, so many memories. So to have the ability to make the Hall of Fame and then stand out a little bit further in like this different way, it is really special.
You just brought up Coach Ariema, who was talking about how cool it is for him to have you back on campus and to honor you. And he has such a special relationship with so many of his players as DePaul takes a shot there. What was that relationship development like for you as you first were being recruited and then going into your time during UConn compared to where it's at now?
Well, it's definitely different. Being recruited, the program had only won 1 championship when I was being recruited, but it very much was on the map. It wasn't on the map in the way it is now, but it was very much on the map, but they were still building. But Coach Ariema, CD, actually Tanya and Jamel were on the staff as well when I was here. So being recruited by all 4 of them, what I would describe it as is just a belief in themselves that really stuck out, even though they had only won the 1 championship. And that remained. And I think when you come here and you're challenged by people that are confident in what they're doing, it really just eventually brings out the best in you. And that's how I describe my time here. But the relationships themselves, they obviously evolve through the years. Coach and CD, they kind of go from parental figures to then they're like your cool aunt and uncle. Now he's a grandpa, so I guess he's that.
Speaking of those relationships, to have your teammates and players that you didn't even cross paths with here celebrating you. We saw Stewie just come on the Jumbotron there. Just how would you describe just the family that UConn basketball is and how that's been created over several decades?
Yeah, it obviously starts with the coaching staff. They let that be known, how important it is to stay connected. But it really is something about the way the alumni, whether they come back, and I'm not even speaking of myself, like I learned it from other people. The way they come back, they would come practice with us, they'd be at Final Fours, they'd be at big games, and it really gives you a sense of belonging. It connects you, and it does feel like one big family. Like there's some players on this team, this is my first time up at a game. So some of the newbies I haven't met yet, and yet instantly there's a connection.
Yeah, well, whatever's been happening here, it's been working. 12 national championships, and this team's looking to run it back, which is so difficult to do. As you've gotten to spend time around the program and as you've gotten to maybe watch this team, I know you mentioned you haven't met all the players until this trip, but what sticks out about the way that this year's team is built as Fred right on cue does what she's been doing so often this season and nailing the 3?
Well, she's a pretty good shooter.
Yeah, not bad.
She's a pretty good shooter. There's definitely more to say. I know we're going to break, so everybody stay tuned.
We're not letting you go anywhere, Sue.
I'm dropping some knowledge in a couple minutes here.
Defensively as well, outside of, we just talked about AZ, is there anyone else on this team in particular who has impressed you with their early play this year?
I swear Sarah Strong got taller. I'm like, the first thing I noticed when I walked in, I'm like, did you grow a couple inches? Listen, she was impressive last year as a freshman, and now you're just seeing a little more experience, a little more understanding with that complete package that she was, pretty much born with. So to watch her development, obviously now, but even the next couple of years, is going to be super fun.
Yeah.
And Sue, we got to hear your speech before the game, and you talked about just the growth of these games being on TV. We did give your niece a shout out, by the way.
We did, yeah.
She's gonna Zoe. Hopefully she's still hating on me.
But just if you could tell our viewers just the changes you've seen from when you were here, and you're saying it was hard for people to see us if they weren't here in the arena, to what things have grown into now and hopefully still rising.
There they are, chugging that Sprite. Oh. Yeah, listen, the point I was making was just feeling so lucky that I came to a place that did value women's basketball, and I actually came here when I was 17 years old. Wow. I had a late birthday, so 17-year-old, leave at 21, and I actually got to experience what it was to be valued. So then I get sent off into the world, and it's like, wait, people like this. Why are you acting like they don't? And the next 20 plus years of my basketball career was a lot about making sure people understood that there was value. Like, we weren't, look around, this place is packed. We're not making this up. So that was more of the point. But yeah, for sure for me, I didn't have players I could just boop, turn the TV on and watch whenever I wanted. I had to go looking for it, which was always kind of difficult. So it's really wonderful that people like my nieces, little girls like my nieces, get to watch whenever.
Graduating at 21, you could maybe find an extra year of eligibility now with how old these players are. They're coming in at 21.
I know, it's crazy. I could use some of that NIL money too, though.
Right?
Not gonna lie.
What would your local NIL partnership in stores?
Probably like DePaul.
Good question.
Shout out DePaul, make the best calzones. Yeah, back then it would have been fast food.
Another cool part about the growth that we've seen in the game is so many legends like yourself, Sue, continuing to pay it forward. You're investing in the Seattle Storm, Outcome FC, and the NWSL. You're now involved in USA basketball. But so we just want to thank you for taking part in this as well and helping to continue to spread the message that women's basketball has arrived. It has been arrived, and now people are recognizing it. We're going to step aside for a quick break. Once again, Sue Bird with us. Appreciate you hanging here on
Thanks for having me. Thanks for
Freeze a game under 30%. They've pretty much doubled that as of late, and that percentage is going to tick up even higher if they continue on shooting well in the second half, because they shot 87% from 3 in the first 20.
We are now underway here, third quarter action between DePaul and UConn. Appreciate you being with us here on FS1. I mentioned our officials on the call today, Jules Gallion, Kevin Fahey, and Nicole Leon. As the top-ranked Huskies continue to force turnovers, 19 of them in the first half.
Yeah, and that had to have been the lead topic of conversation in Jill Pizzotti's DePaul halftime locker room speech. Sarah Williams gets one going early, but that has to be number one right now, is just look at one step at a time. Don't look at the whole staircase, and just try to get better possession by possession, and it starts with taking much better care of the ball here in the second half for the Blue Demons.
Newman shot too strong. Here come the Huskies in transition. Too strong also was AZ Fudd trying to lay it in.
Perfect from 3, but blew a layup there.
Look, you got to miss sometime, all right, Kim? You can't hit every shot in a game. Well, maybe you can, though.
She laughed at the end of that.
Paul trying to cut into this deficit, looking for their first win here in Big East play. Thrown away, though. Fudd. Room to operate, find shade. Off iron. Williams fighting for the rebound, taken away though. DePaul doing a good job on the glass though. 14 rebounds, still mixing it up. When they've been able to prevent UConn as well from getting second chance opportunities, they've been able to chip away a little bit into this lead. Hageman, 6 on the shot clock. Novick, back out to Dvoria. Fight for the rebound, out of play.
Meg Newman, number 9 in blue, continues to fight for those offensive rebounds. They didn't get the possession that time, but she's leading DePaul with 6 rebounds, has a couple of offensive ones as well.
And Newman, really versatile, mobile, big, can run the floor and defend in the post well, which she has done for the most part today as Novick backs it away. Although this DePaul team as a whole has quite the hole to dig out of. Arnold on the drive, so aggressive with the left hand.
And that started with Sarah Strong making a good decision off of her drive. They had isolated things for her, but it was defended well by DePaul. Instead of forcing something up, she kicks opposite to KK Arnold, which ultimately led to that drive and score.
Arnold showing off not just her playmaking, but scoring ability, stepping into the starting role as a corner tray goes for Dvoria.
Gina Dvoria, the only freshman on this DePaul team, a local product, Glenview, Illinois. Was a big scorer in high school, trying to get her production up a little bit here for DePaul.
Dvoria throws it away that time. Shade with the steal. Up ahead to Arnold, who takes some contact from Dvoria, who will be called for the foul.
And fouling was an issue for DePaul in that first half, right? Just some kind of silly ones that you don't need. That's a foul you don't need. If someone's driving hard to the basket and you're challenging them, you'll take that foul. But DePaul has to become a little bit more disciplined at defending without fouling, because UConn got into the bonus very early to start the game. Oh, wow. Sarah Strong with the cut.
Strong continuing to snack up some points here. Bud with 16, Strong now with 17. Dvoria on the dribble.
UConn has come out in the second half in a zone. Sarah Williams, not sure what to do with it. It's a good choice. Get it back to your guard. Really impressive steal though. Sarah Williams jumping that passing lane.
Williams, Big Ten Defender of the Year back in 2024. This time doing it on the offensive end, and a foul is called as she goes up with it.
UConn runs such beautiful action. All of the attention is on the ball side. Ashlyn Shade, it was overloaded to the weak side. And somebody sets a nice screen for Sarah Strong. She curls across the lane. Defense doesn't stick with her. 17 assists for UConn.
Yeah, the ball movement, another thing that's super impressive about this UConn offense. KK Arnold with 7 assists in this game, tying a career high as well.
Yeah, UConn coming into this game second in the country in assists per game at just about 23 per game. And they only turn it over 12 times a game. That's a team 2-to-1 ratio, basically. Very impressive.
That's what I was just going to bring up, is the shot comes up short. Shade with the rebound, back out to Arnold. Is the fact that UConn's plus 11 turnover margin is 6th in the nation. And then the assist to turnover ratio, as Kim just mentioned, really impressive stuff in terms of what they're able to do at such a high pace while still taking care of the basketball. Because there's a foul called.
KK Arnold just went in like a pit bull, full speed. I don't know if I saw much contact there, I have to say. I thought Hageman maybe got her hand on the ball.
Arnold with the attempt from the free throw line. Foul called on Hageman, which is her second. The team's 4th already in this third quarter. So closing in on putting UConn in the bonus, which is not a position this DePaul team wants to be in. Hageman running the point here, the 5'6" sophomore guard, transferred in from East Carolina. The true point guard of this team has been banged up a little bit, but back in the starting lineup and back healthy. 7 on the shot clock. Newman trying to find the entry pass up, but not in for Novick. Arnold pushing. Strong on the run. Great pass. Shade makes the most of it. Tic-tac-toe for the UConn Huskies.
I was hoping she was going to make that, because that assist needed to make the highlight reel. Sarah Strong saw that happening like moments before she even got the ball. Her awareness is just off the charts. To think she's only a sophomore.
Strong's passing ability, truly impressive, standing at 6'2", the forward out of Durham, North Carolina, as we've talked about, able to score, able to rebound, stuff in the stat sheet in really every category with that versatility as Williams continues to stuff the stat sheet.
And I think this is a work in progress that's looking pretty good today. Sarah Strong and Sarah Williams. Sarah Williams averaged about 19 points per game last year at Wisconsin. She's obviously not going to do that here at UConn, but she's only averaging about 7. She's someone capable of double digits on a given night. I like this high-low look between the two of them.
3-point ball falls for Dvoria. Going back to Williams, though, got to be a big adjustment in terms of the role she's playing for this Huskies team in the starting lineup, of playing alongside a player like Strong versus her role at Wisconsin was really the primary scorer and number one option is strong. It's the and one opportunity.
The foul starts from the ball, number 33.
UConn up big once again. Timeout on the floor. It's been all Huskies from the outside and the inside. Shade sinking it off a great pass.
Kylan, you have to think a triple-double is coming soon from Sarah Strong. I think she's been close a couple of times. I mean, there's games where she's in quadruple double range.
Strong has been stuffing the stat sheet, as we mentioned, with that versatility. She can do it in so many different categories. Smashed a rebounding record here for this UConn program last season. Finished second in points for a freshman, that is. Second in assists and steals for a freshman. And again, she's a 6'2" forward, which is the most impressive part about it for me. The other impressive part is the high IQ coming in as a freshman and having that decision making. And Coach Oriema has said the maturity has even taken another step forward this year. She always seems to be making the right play at the right time.
Yeah, the most astounding stat to me for Sarah Strong, and you mentioned it in the first half, is that she leads the country in assist to turnover ratio as a sophomore and as a forward. It is a 4.7 assist to turnover ratio. That's insane.
How do you defend her, then, is the question. You double her, she can get the ball out, she'll find open shooters. UConn has been hitting from the outside. She'll bully you inside. Can hit in the mid-range if there's a shot clock violation. UConn Huskies defense successful once again. But my goodness, is there a player in the country who can handle a one-on-one matchup with Sarah Strong?
I don't know. She's certainly at the very top of the list, I think, for candidate for National Player of the Year. We still have a ton of season to go. We're only one month in. But just her maturity as just a sophomore, she impacts every category of the game, and she makes all of her teammates around her better.
Blanca Quinones back into the game. The freshman has been fantastic for the Huskies.
Blanca Quinones has a similar size and build to Sarah Strong. She's also a 6'2" forward who can stretch you out. She's been shooting the ball well from three. I mean, anytime she comes into the game, she scores immediately. She makes a steal. She's an instant impact player, and that's why Gino told us before the game he wants to get those minutes up. She's averaging about 17. He wants to push her over 20. She's got to watch those silly fouls that she sometimes picks up, he said. That's what's limiting her right now.
Quinones with that combo forward skill set as well. Really good skill for her size. As Kim mentioned, the ability to hit the outside shot as well. Another player who's a really tough matchup and a mismatch for a lot of different posts in this country. As Williams' attempt in the mid-range is off iron. Flying forward is Dvoria. Gets it right back. Dvoria from beyond the arc. No.
Another good look, though, for DePaul. I liked them pushing pace a little bit, little give-and-go action.
Oh, but you gotta like that pass. Quinones with a connection to Kaylee Heckel.
Again, I mean, the vision from a young player. We talked about Sarah Strong. Quinones only a freshman. That was an extremely high level of difficulty to make that pass, and a good corral in from Heckel.
15-3 run for UConn in the last 4.5 minutes. Just continuing to balloon this lead as Dvoria hits a nice baseline jump shot.
Yeah, you can see Dvoria is playing with some confidence right now. We mentioned the only freshman on this roster. She's looking for her shots. That's what Jill Pizzotti needs. They need more scoring, not just in this game, but across the last couple.
Dvoria with 8 points, which is now a season high for her. As Ali Sabel puts up 2 for the UConn Huskies.
And the depth is just alarmingly good for Gino Oriema's group this year. Ali Zabel would be starting at most schools, and she's somebody who can come in and fill it up. Her 2 from 3, that was a nice take.
Zabel coming off a freshman season where she did contribute, provide a bit of a spark off the bench, playing in 33 games, averaging just about 3 points per game. DePaul, they're running out of time again, as Tim can't get it to go. Here comes Quinones. Quinones on the dribble, comes up short. And there's a whistle in the fight for the rebound.
The foul is UConn number 9, Jamie Cuthbert, her first, team's first.
Blanca Quinones, the Ecuador native, comes in instantly, eyes up, feeds that pass into Kaylee Heckel, and then Ali Zabel also right off the bench. Nice attack up and under the rim. So many offensive weapons. This is one of the deepest teams I've covered for Gino Oriema. I mean, you think back to a couple years ago when they made the Final Four with Paige Beckers and Aaliyah Edwards. Nika Mule, they were playing like 6 players. And now Gino Auriemma just has a ton of depth. You knock on wood that everyone stays healthy.
Three-point shot attempt goes down for Hageman.
And I think I mentioned Nika Mule there. Sue Bird had a funny line today that Nika Mule got in that number 10 jersey just in time for her career before it would be retired forever starting today.
That was during Bird's speech as a part of the ceremony as Williams puts up another 2. Really seems to be finding a groove here.
Yeah, there's that high-low again. She's been really good at getting her positions. Teammates are feeding it in nicely. She doesn't have to do too much work, just be there on the catch.
Talked about earlier, Williams adjusting to a new role after being the #1 scorer for Wisconsin. Again, a 2-time All-Big Ten first-team selection. Now a complimentary piece, but an important piece inside alongside Sarah Strong for UConn. Final seconds ticking down, though, here in this third quarter, and Nelson gets the bucket. That'll be the last shot of the quarter here. DePaul with 31 points, but UConn with 81 after an outstanding shooting in the first 3 quarters. 73% from beyond the arc, 68% from the floor. The Huskies flying high here after honoring the great Sue Bird.
On the women's side, one that a lot of fans would like to see, but we will have to wait to see if we get that maybe in the Final Four, maybe in the national championship, as we were taking a look at some of those banners. UConn looking to repeat something they haven't done in about a decade since they won 4 in a row between 2013 and 2016.
On the drive. Ball still bobbling around, and somehow Al Elfie came up with it but couldn't get the putback. Going back to UConn, though, a team that stormed to the 12th national championship in program history last year, not just winning games, but dominating. The Huskies, as a #2 seed, took down 3 #1 seeds, outscored opponents by an average margin of nearly 33 points in the NCAA tournament. And this year, they returned 2 of their stars in Strong and Fudd, and seemingly have gotten deeper than they were even 1 year ago.
Ooh,
Elfie, show what she can do on the block.
Post that. But back to that margin of victory, what I always come back to is that UConn lost a couple of games in the non-conference last year. They lost at home to USC. I think they lost to Notre Dame. So that's why fans go crazy when a team loses early in the season. It's a long ride. It's a long ride to March and April.
Coach Auriemma said last year that he wasn't sure initially early on in the season if his team had what it takes to go all the way and win a national championship. But they found a way to put it together at the right time, and the players got hot at the right time, and so much is about that momentum and how you're playing heading into March.
Yeah, we take a look at this loaded top 10 right now. Texas moved up to 2 after they defeated UCLA and South Carolina on consecutive nights a couple of weeks back in Las Vegas. That was insane. And then that LSU team is the question mark because they haven't had too much competition yet, but they're averaging over 100 a game.
What a block. Quinones showing what she can do on the defensive end as well.
I mean, is there a more exciting kind of under-the-radar talent in the country? Maybe a freshman, or you could go all 4 classes here. Quinones is like a hidden gem that just keeps getting better and better. She keeps showing us more and more of what she can do on the floor.
Quinones has represented Ecuador at the international level. She flies in too strong that time.
I thought she was going to make us look good there.
Yeah. The reverse broadcaster's jinx, or I guess the broadcaster's jinx in play there as Fisher gets called for the foul. But Quinones, I think maybe not even getting the hype that she should be on a national scale in terms of being one of the best freshmen that we've seen. Right now, she's averaging 10.5 points per game, 2.5 boards on a UConn team that's loaded with talent and has a lot of scoring options.
And she's had a couple of really big games. Her three-point shot has started to come along. She had a season-high 21 points against Utah, 8 of 11 from the field in that game. She was huge in the win over Ohio State.
McCory knocks down the shot there in the mid-range.
And DePaul, we were talking about set break. Their main point of focus was taking care of the ball. They've done that much better in the second half, but too much UConn firepower regardless of who's coming in the game.
El Alfie now with 8 points. A little too easy there for her to get it inside and put it up and in. But yeah, going back to the turnover issue, just 4 turnovers for DePaul in the third quarter, a massive improvement after 19 in the first half. Saw UConn's defense executing exactly what they want in terms of the disruption with their ball pressure, with their traps. As there's a foul call, a little bit too much there from Alfie defensively. But DePaul has settled in that regard. So maybe something positive to build on for a DePaul team that has a ton of new pieces. We haven't talked about that yet as well. 6 transfers playing key roles here for the Blue Demons. And just a lot of new faces in the first year, official first year under Jill Pizzotti after being named interim a season ago.
Yeah, and Jill Pizzotti has been with DePaul for a long time. She was the associate head coach under Doug Bruno for 10 years. She was with the program before that. So it's been a little bit of a frustrating start dealing with the different injuries, but they have to take it possession by possession, game by game.
15 seasons on the bench for Coach Pizzotti as a part of the Blue Demons, but now the one in control and trying to figure things out here amidst a number of injuries. This Blue Demons team has not had everyone available for a game yet this season. Also, Coach Pizzotti, a Lombard, Illinois native, attended Willowbrook High School. I got to shout that out. I went to York, which is one town over, and little local rivals. But obviously takes a lot of pride. We'll have to, but she obviously takes a lot of pride in getting to coach DePaul, which has been so highly regarded. I know as someone growing up and playing high school basketball in the Chicago area, how much a lot of the youth players look up to this program and how much this program has been able to retain a lot of that really good talent.
How about Khalees Fisher, the freshman and top prospect coming in off the bench, one of the smallest players on the floor at 5'9". She just sets up and gets ready to get toppled down, and she got up like a champ.
Fisher, again, another freshman, and good to see some of the freshmen getting minutes. That time, though, it's Alfie, the redshirt sophomore center.
She has had some really nice moments, and she's come into the game. I mean, the depth in the front court. Alfie, she's 6'5". I mean, there's just not a lot of teams that can match that size. So she's gotten her position. She's posted up well. She's done her work, and her teammates are finding her on the interior. She's up to 10 points. 4 Huskies now into double figures.
10 points also is the season high for Alfie. First UConn player from Egypt making an impact on this Sunday afternoon. Zabel. Alfie going to work again, and there's a whistle. Going back to Fisher, though, the freshman coming in from IMG Academy, one of the most dominant programs at the prep level, as Alfie goes to the free throw line. And the foul was called on West. But Fisher led the team, IMG Academy, the first Chipotle national title in 2025, scored 25 points in the championship game. So again, you look at the pieces that UConn has farther down the depth chart, and they are loaded with talent and players who can be really centerpieces for the future.
Yeah, and that bodes well for foul trouble, for games where you see it in the minutes played. Nobody on this team averages more than 28 minutes per game. I mean, that's huge when you're thinking long-term, deep postseason success.
UConn as healthy as they have been, really, in the last couple of years. Taking away another steal. Oh, what a pass. And Heckel finishes the play.
Stunning. Allie Zabel on the setup. Just getting that ball to the middle of the floor. The connectivity amongst the players. Kaylee Heckel in her first season as a Husky, as we mentioned, she's really finding her groove.
Zabel, another nice piece coming in off the bench as the Huskies try to take it away out of play. It will stay here with DePaul. But Zabel coming off 3 efficient games, 8 points against South Florida, 16 just a couple games back against Xavier, going 5 of 7 from beyond the arc. Also was in double figures in scoring against Utah a few weeks back. Came in off the bench, as we mentioned, last year as a freshman, but just so many capable players who can provide different options for this UConn team. And you know that it takes everyone to go the distance, especially as you look at a national championship run, because we are still months away from getting to that point in March.
Yeah, and Kaylee Heckel, who made that last bucket, she's maybe having her most complete game of the season. 12 points on 5 of 6 shooting, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. a steal. She's a key piece for Gino's depth.
Hackle, another player that attended a premier high school program, Long Island Lutheran. But man, when I saw her name in the portal and then end up at UConn, I was like, that is a dangerous combination.
You were talking local ties. I have to shout out Kaylee being from Portchester, New York. Just a couple minutes away from where I grew up. She's much closer to home now than when she was out in LA last season.
Fair enough, and we will step aside for a quick break. UConn with 90 points and 5 minutes still to go in the fourth quarter. Airing on Thursdays and Fridays, wherever you get your podcasts. She's got a ton of great guests on. I've been tuning in at least to a bird's eye view. I follow on Instagram. I've seen Kelsey Plum on there recently, Stephanie White. Of course, you know, Megan will pop in here and there, but hearing Sue's perspective during our conversation in the second quarter, so interesting, as she's one of the most decorated players in the history of this sport and has done so much at the international level as well, and continuing to move the needle forward for women's basketball. So appreciate all that she's done for the sport and continues to do in the media space.
You know, she's a businesswoman now, just has her hands involved in so many different things, and that's one of the things Gino applauded her for when we heard from him before the game. And he also said Sue Bird is the best player, best point guard to play this game, men's or women's. And Sue said, I've never heard him say that to me before in person. So high praise from the GOAT of coaching to his GOAT in the point guard world.
Tim shot offline and a putback goes down for DePaul. Because you know that Coach Auriemma has such a good playful relationship with a lot of his players in terms of liking to throw insults and go back and forth jokingly. I know if you watched UConn at all the last couple of years with Paige Beckers, you heard some of the shots at her defense and things like that. So rare moment where Bird was like, whoa, taken aback. I'm getting some outright praise here from my former coach, because, you know, the wit usually is at the tip of the tongue for him.
Yeah, Paige Beckers was in practice the other day, and I saw Gino Auriemma said it was like having Dennis the Menace there. I don't know. I haven't seen Paige in the building today. I don't know if she's stuck around for the game.
Aaliyah Edwards also was in attendance at practice the other day here in the stadium today. Was throwing some t-shirts during the last quarter break as Fisher hits the free throw. This holiday season, Fox Sports and Purple Heart Homes are teaming up to provide housing solutions to our nation's aging and disabled veterans through the Hearts for the Holidays campaign. To learn more about how you can help heal hearts one home at a time, scan the QR code or visit go.fox/Purple Heart Homes. Great cause there, making a big difference. As UConn continues to roll here, and there's a travel called. Oja, it looked like, lost her feet there momentarily as she was trying to make a decision. Coach Bizzotti still trying to coach up her players hard as the Blue Demons have had to deal with a ton of adversity and still trying to find that foundation with a lot of new pieces.
I always applaud players and coaching staffs when players are continuing to play exceptionally hard despite what the scoreboard may read. DePaul's doing that. And Kaylee Heckel having herself quite the game here. We mentioned her well-roundedness, but she's been really efficient scoring the ball.
Heckel with 14 points, tying a season high. As she's come in and made an impact off the bench for this Huskies program this season. Heckel coming off an 8-point performance against South Florida. Again, Huskies' last game. Coming off a couple of big wins. Entry pass, though, taken away by Ojo. But her pass taken right back. Ducharme with the steal, and Patterson draws the foul.
Couple of fan favorites on the court right now. Caroline Ducharme on the steal. Ayanna Patterson going to go to the free throw line. Those two have battled many injuries, much adversity, and that's why they get roars of applause anytime they enter the game or make something happen.
Patterson with 2 opportunities coming at the free throw line. 4 of 6 from the charity stripe coming into this game. It's interesting, Coach Auriemma was asked how much it is a benefit to have so many players and so many deep pieces, and then how much it can be difficult, because in games like this you're putting a lot of bodies in, you're not necessarily building some chemistry in terms of your rotations and getting players used to playing with each other. He said, yeah, it can be a detriment in some regards. We'll have to really dial in the rotation as we get closer to the postseason. So far, it also is an opportunity to keep legs fresh with the amount of different bodies they've been able to rotate in here through the early portion of the season. 6 on the shot clock. Hageman with the entry pass into O'Corey. And it is a shot clock violation. 30 turnovers for DePaul. That makes it 31.
I think they had about, what was it at the half? They had 19 turnovers.
At the half,
so they've certainly cleaned it up here in the second half, which is the progress you hope to see out of a halftime speech.
Heckel on the drive. Good pass, and the finish goes down for Patterson.
Kaylee Heckel showing she's a scorer. She is a creator, unselfish, looking for her teammate on that one. Nice minutes for Patterson to try to get her feel back a little bit. She missed 2 full seasons with 2 different injuries.
Yeah, serious shoulder and knee injuries, both requiring surgeries, which could be enough to cause some players to hang it up. But not Patterson and not Heckel, who continues to score.
Heckel's having a good time out there, now up to 16 points. She's showing her quickness and explosiveness in the open floor. And that's 100 for the Huskies.
Heckel with a season-high 16 points. 3rd time this season, UConn has surpassed 100 points. Just over a minute to go. Maybe the better question now is who could stop the UConn Huskies en route to a back-to-back national championship.
Yeah, there are some good teams there at the top. We mentioned Texas, UCLA. I mean, they bounced back from that loss to Texas. Huskies keep pouring it on. Of course, we have to mention Michigan that almost came back and beat UConn. LSU, South Carolina. There's a really good top 5 or 6 teams right now. We just saw Iowa last night. I thought they looked really dangerous.
Yeah, Iowa and UConn actually meet in a couple of weeks, coming up on December 20th. That game will air on Fox, tipping off at 1 p.m. Eastern. So circle that one on the calendar, because this Iowa team, I think, is going to catch some people by surprise throughout the course of the season. Already up to being ranked 12th in the nation. Some really, really good young players on that team, a really loaded front court as well. But a 3-second difference here between the game clock and shot clock. Final buzzer awaits at Gamble Pavilion. The UConn Huskies dominant on a special day here in Stores. Sue Bird's number 10 jersey retired before tip-off. And now they'll run down the clock, the final 12 on the game. Fans on their feet here at Gamble Pavilion. Shot clock violation. UConn running out the clock. Last 3 to go. DePaul trying to put up the last shot. That comes up short out of the hands of Devin Hageman, and that'll do it. The UConn Huskies storm to a dominant victory, 102-35 over the DePaul Blue Demons.